Hey everyone, welcome back to Warren's Everyday English. I hope you've been well, and I hope you're ready to learn. Today we're going to continue going through Diary of a Wimpy Kid. As I mentioned before, although this is a children's book, the way the story is told and the type of dialogues used between the characters show us a book that uses real-life expressions and statements that people use. Children, teenagers, and adults all speak like the characters from the book. So, without wasting further time, let's continue. So in the first paragraph here, today is the first day of school, and right now we're just waiting around for the teacher to hurry up and finish the seating chart. So I figured I might as well write in this book to pass the time. The expression might as well is an often used expression used when you're saying you should do something because there is no reason not to do it, or do something because it makes sense to do it. For instance, I'm going to the grocery store to pick up some milk. While I'm there, I might as well go get gas so I don't have to go back again this weekend. Or, even though our flight is at 5 p.m., we might as well get to the airport by 1 p.m. so we can use the first class lounge. So here in this passage, the author is stating that since today is the first day of school, the students are waiting for the teacher to finish the seating chart. Since he has nothing else to do, he figured it makes more sense writing in the book.
Otherwise, you might as well write an article.
I might as well do something useful, so I decide I write a book.
So moving on to the second paragraph. By the way, let me give you some good advice. On the first day of school, you got to be real careful where you sit. You walk into the classroom and just plunk your stuff down on any old desk, and the next thing you know, the teacher is saying, I hope you all like where you're sitting, because these are your permanent seats. Here, plunk down means to just drop. To give you an example, I was so exhausted after work, I got home and plunked down on my bed without even taking off my work clothes.
If you just sprinkle them in and just plonk them down.
So you could use rings, or you could use pieces like me, and we're just going to plonk it down on our pan.
The next thing you know is a commonly used phrase meaning suddenly, or all of a sudden, or something that happens when you're not expecting it. For example, Bob and I were going to meet up for 1 or 2 drinks after work. The next thing you know, Bob and I are so drunk so that Bob's son had to come pick us up from the bar. In this sentence, the author is saying that you have to be careful on your first day of school where you sit. Because you walk into class, drop your bag, books on any desk you find, and then all of a sudden, without expecting it, the teacher is telling you that this is the seat you will be sitting in from now on.
Next thing you know, you have great results, and they're very, very passionate about what they do.
And the next thing you know, you feel a lot better about your mom. It's an incredible process.
So in the third passage here, Jason Brill came in late and almost sat to my right, but luckily I stopped that from happening at the last second. Here, at the last second is an expression meaning before it's too late or at the last possible moment. To give you an idea, John was going to drive us to the party last night, but at the last second, John couldn't make it because he got into an argument with his girlfriend. Here, the author is saying that Jason Brill came into class late and almost sat next to him, but luckily he prevented that from happening at the last possible moment.
Here are some that were changed at the last second.
Cramming at the last second and reading the chapter are 2 of the least efficient ways to study.
So, moving on to the next paragraph. Man, I don't know what is up with girls these days. It used to be a whole lot simpler back in elementary school. The deal was, if you were the fastest runner in your class, you got all the girls. Nowadays, it's a whole lot more complicated. So here, there's a lot of expressions being used. The first expression, what is up with, is used more of as a slang and means that you don't understand or have a hard time understanding something or someone. For example, I don't know what is up with Ben. Lately he's been very quiet and doesn't even talk much when I try to talk to him.
God, these men. What is up with you, dads? Uncles?
What's up with all these New Yorkers not voting?
The next expression, whole lot, is used to greatly emphasize the adjective being used. Let's take a look at this sample. Class used to be a whole lot easier until we got a new teacher. Here, whole lot is used to emphasize the adjective easier, meaning much more or a lot more.
This problem was a whole lot bigger than we ever could have imagined.
And it's a whole lot easier to get the attention of 10 people, or 100 people, or 1,000 people.
The expression the deal was means that this is what the situation was, or this is how it was. For instance, the deal was if you got on the last car on the train, the conductor would never check tickets in that car, so you didn't have to buy tickets. Meaning that the conductor sometimes doesn't feel like walking all the way to the last car. So if you boarded the last car on the train, the conductor would not walk all the way back to the last car to check anyone's ticket. So in this passage from the book, the author is stating that he doesn't understand girls. Back in elementary school, it was much easier. The situation was if you were the fastest runner in your class, you got all the girls. Nowadays, it's much more complicated than that. So moving on, the most popular boy in my grade is Bryce Anderson. The thing that really stinks is that I have always been into girls, but kids like Bryce have only come around in the last couple of years. So here, the word stinks is slang for meaning very unfortunate or too bad. Another strong word for stinks is sucks. So for example, the thing that stinks is that even though I show up extra early for work, my boss complains when I leave a little early from work.
We might speak English perfectly, but if our soft skills stink, then we're also not doing well.
Into is a commonly used word we use meaning you have great interest in or are interested in someone or something. Here's a good example. Lately, I've been really into tennis. I started getting lessons and play 4 times a week.
It's kind of fun, it's kind of cute. I am into the fish.
The reason I'm here, the reason I am into this course is because I think all of us are better off if we are more educated.
So in this section from the book, the author is stating that the most popular boy in his grade is Bryce Anderson. And the thing that sucks is that the author has always been interested in girls, but kids like Bryce have only started getting interested in girls in the last couple of years. So I want to reiterate that sucks is a very strong expression for stinks, and sometimes it could be used a little bit inappropriately, so be careful when you use sucks. So moving on to the next part. But of course, I don't get any credit for sticking with the girls all this time. The expression get credit or any credit basically means receiving acknowledgement. For instance, the thing that's messed up is that even though I brought up the idea at work, Bob received all the credit from the managers because he was the one writing down the meeting notes for everyone. Or, even though I clean the house, do the laundry, and throw out the garbage, my wife never gives me credit and always complains that I'm lazy.
Who's going to get credit? Who's going to get promoted?
But if somebody else said that, you didn't get credit for it. Neither of you did.
The next expression, sticking with, means to be committed to or supportive of someone. Take for example, even though I lost my job and we lost the house, I thank my wife for sticking with me through all of the good and the bad.
But in the meantime, what I learned at Stanford will stick with me.
Your father did stick with your mom for a long time.
Yes. So here in this section, we see the author saying that he doesn't receive any acknowledgement even though he has been supportive of girls all this time. So let's move on to the next part. The best thing I can figure is that I'm somewhere around 52nd or 53rd most popular this year. But the good news is that I'm about to move up one spot because Charlie Davies is above me and he's getting his braces next week. Here, I'm about to means getting ready to do something. So for instance, John said he would call me this morning, but I've waited all day and he hasn't called. I'm about to call him right now and let him know how upset I am.
So a few years ago, I was at JFK Airport, about to get on a flight.
Whatever decision they're about to make is a safe one.
So in this section from the book, the author is stating that he figures he's somewhere around the 52nd or 53rd most popular boy this year. And the good news is that he's ready to move up one spot because Charlie Davies is right above him in the popularity list, and he's getting his braces next week, which means that Charlie's ranking will drop one place. So moving on to the final passage from the book, I try to explain all this popularity stuff to my friend Rowley, but I think it just goes in one ear and out the other with him. Goes in one ear and out the other is an expression used when someone says something, and the other either doesn't pay attention or listens to what the person says and then forgets about it right after. So it's almost pointless telling the person something important because they'll forget about it right after. Here's a good example. It's no use telling Bob to lock his car doors at night. I tell him and it goes in one ear and out the other. He'll acknowledge what I said, and then the next day, I see that his car door is unlocked.
And we've all heard about yo-yo syndrome, I think, and some people that goes in one ear and out the other.
So I hear that, and it goes in one ear and out the other because my mom is normally a jokester, so I didn't take it as seriously because we play around a lot.
So here we see that the author says he tries to explain the whole popularity thing at school to his friend Rowley, but Rowley doesn't seem to understand and doesn't really care about it. So we'll stop here for today. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot of useful expressions that you can apply to your daily life. We'll continue going through the book next time. Until then, take care and have a great day.